What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be doing a $500 quarter hunt. Now, when I went to the bank to pick these things up, the bank told me they had a $500 box of quarters, but when I said I wanted them, they actually had the drive-through teller pull $500 out of $700 with a quarter she had in her safe. Now, you'll notice on this end, we've got all traditional customer wrap plus some tape, which always makes things interesting. And down here, you'll see we have a bunch of rolls where you can actually see the ends of the coins. Now, what's interesting about these is they don't look like they've come from any major, like bullion dealer, coin company, anything like that, but they are written on the side, IA for Iowa, and both ends look brand spanking new. So I believe this is going to be part of a collection dump, or at least these are from a collection dump, because these even say California, and that's California on probably both ends. So these could be interesting. I know there's a few of them that do have interesting die varieties, and they likely could upgrade all of my books because these are going to be more than likely nicer than the coins that I have. So with that, it's been an exceptionally long intro. We're going to go ahead and get into these quarters. It may be pretty short, though, because we may really only be hunting about $350 or so worth of these things. So let's jump into it and see what we can find. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get into a couple, maybe 3 rolls together here just to get them dumped out to see what these things look like. And I'm going to go ahead and start with one roll that's taped because I'm always curious why people feel the need to tape one end of a roll. It also means I don't get to reuse the wrapper. Not seeing any silver in here. Uh-oh, making a mess too. I'm not going to go through each and every one, but we will be looking for things like silver, which would be 1964 and earlier, all manner of foreign coins that we typically find inside of our quarter hunts, as well as numerous die chips and errors that you can find in a document in the description down below this video. There is a whole lot of stuff to hunt for in quarters, and that's why they're one of my favorite coins to hunt, simply because there is so much to look for. It does look like we've got a lot of nicer looking coins. Now, we do have a very silvery edge right here. I think that's going to end up being a foreign right there. Hopefully I'm zoomed in on that enough for you, but let's see what we got. Yeah, it's a Canadian 25-cent piece, or actually not even Canadian, it's Bahamian. There you go. Hopefully that looks a little closer for you. But first foreign on the hunt in roll number 2. And we've got probably a ground target, 1972. That's usually when they're all brown and dirty like that. They've spent some time on the ground. But quarters are fun. The other thing that we're going to be looking for outside of our silver are die chips and varieties. We'll be looking for those W West Point minted quarters from 2019 and 2020. Those were the W mint marks can be found on all of those designs, and in reality, they can actually be worth more than a silver quarter. So the W quarters are more sought after than other things. And I've got another silvery guy right here. That's why I was stopping. I don't know if that's going to be foreign or not. Let's see. It is, this time, definitely Canadian. 25-cent piece here from 1979. So 2 foreigns and 3 rolls. What else can I say we are looking for? I would say San Francisco business strikes and proofs. Those are always on the hunt list. And I am just making a complete mess. You'd never guess I've hunted tons and tons of boxes before. All right, we're going to do 2 more rolls on camera just to get them laid out for you. Here is roll number 4. Now, hopefully we'll find some silvery stuff rather than silvery looking stuff. Nothing in that roll. And here is roll number 5. As I said, I will be going back through these, so if you're worried that I'm not spending a lot of time and just edge hunting, it's because it just takes so much time to go through each roll. All right, so with that, we'll go back through them. I'll bring you in as we find interesting things. If there's any value in them that's worth more than a quarter or 50 cents, we'll be sure to talk about that and do a total at the end of the video. So we're 15 rolls in. Well, really, this is roll 14 and roll 15 there. I haven't brought you in for anything since those first couple of rolls. We've got a couple of Philadelphia Bicentennials, no Denvers to check for the DDO. I am pulling all of my 2010 and 11 because they're just super low mintage, and I'm going to see if any of those are upgrade for the Series 1 or Series 2 books that are more or less complete except for the women's quarters. And I've also pulled a handful of blingy earlier years, National Park quarters. You'll see there's a 94 and I think a 96 up there. But I did pull one coin aside, and I am still using this little coin view device that I showed you in my dollar video the other day. It's much easier to use with more modern currency. Looking at that edge, it's really helpful when you have both hands. Really hard to do when you're trying to talk and film and show a screen that's not right in front of you. So for me, it's a little easier to do quarters with it. But we'll pull it up here and just show you. We've got a drooling George here, where we've got this die chip right here in the corner of George's mouth. Now, this particular quarter is the 2022 Denver. This is the Maya Angelou. And the funny thing is, I hadn't even checked to see if we had the double earring. Let's check for that real quick. I'm not seeing it. The double earring actually shows up as a little double ring right down here. Haven't found one of those in a good long while. But anyway, it's our first real find on the hunt. We'll go ahead and throw it up top and keep on hunting. So we've got rolls 16 through 20 open. We got 16 through 19 here, and we came across something super thick and shiny and silvery, and of course that is not going to be a silver US coin. But let's check it out together and see what we have. We have another Bahamian 2007 Commonwealth of the Bahamas 25-cent piece. So that's 3 foreigns on the hunt, 1 Canadian, 2 Bahamian. So we're getting through rolls 16 through 20, and we've got our next little die chip error out here. It is one of the new 2023 coins. Let's see here. It's the Marietta Chief, I think is what it's called. And right here, there's 3 little ribbons that come out of her hair, I guess. And we got a big die chip here that isn't supposed to be there. At the end of the video, we'll look up comps for that on eBay. I think it's worth $1 or $2. Not a whole lot, but again, it's a small little error. And let's see, I think it's a Philly. It is 2023 Philadelphia. Still cleaning up 16 through 20. We're into roll 17. And we've got our next find already put out here in the coin view little device here. And I forgot to mention in the last clip, you can save 10% if you decide to order one of these things using the code GASilver over at CoinView's website. I will leave a link for that and the coupon code down in the description below. But let me show you this little thing we got here. This is the 2008 Arizona. And let me actually zoom out a little bit. This is a really easy die chip to find if you're new to coin roll hunting. It's this little extra piece of metal right here. This one's called the Extra Cactus, and it ends up covering up some of the engraver's initials, JFM. We should have a nice big clear line over those things, but we don't. We've got that little die chip there. There's also a die chip to look for over here in the other cactuses and down here near the 2008, which I'm not seeing it real clearly right here, so I'm guessing it's not there. We're into roll number 19 here, and we've got our next find already in our coin view. Let's get it under the scope here. This is another one pretty common, the 2023 Eleanor Roosevelt. You can find a die chip right here up in her hat. The other thing to look for while you're up there is a big die crack that will often run all the way down through her hat and kind of curve down onto her forehead. But this one, we just have the little die chip here on the brim of her hat. So we're into our last couple of rolls before we get into what I think is going to be all brand new stuff. It's actually rolls 32 and 33. We're about halfway through roll 32. And the coin I want to show you, I already have under the scope. It is the 2016 West Virginia. And we've got ourselves a DDR, a double die reverse, and you can see it here in the windows. You can see the extra window panes in these 4 windows and here. They should all be nice and clean like the rest of these windows. So I believe that's going to end up being the Philadelphia. Let's take a look. It is, and we'll put it up here with the rest of our die chips and errors. And I went ahead and bookmarked this in the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book. And this is a fantastic resource. And if you are coin roll hunting or coin collecting, this is a must-have. I have my Amazon affiliate link in the description down below. This is just, it's a book I can't believe I went several years without getting, quite frankly. But here it is, right here, the Double Die Reverse 2016 Philadelphia. You'll see in circulated condition, only about $3 to $5 according to the book. At the end of the video, we'll dig into eBay and see if we can do some recent comps. Uncirculated, they're saying $12 to $20, and they've got a couple of sample images for you. And you can see in those same windows, they've got the double window painting. Now, there are countless versions of this. They don't all have to look just like this picture, but this is what they are showing you as reference. And you'll see even here, 2016 Philly, Double Die Reverse. They're showing additional images. So this is one to keep your eye out for. I didn't look for it for a real long time. Now I found a couple, 3 or 4 of them probably in the last 6 months. So not too difficult to find, but still something you should have on your checklist. Well, same last couple of rolls, 32, 33. We've come across a 2015 Homestead, and we've got something we're going to show you here under the scope that's also something you should be looking for if you're not. One thing is snow on the roof, which we don't have. It's where you'll have a bunch of die chips up there on the roof. The next thing you want to look for is the countless number of double die reverses that you can find here in the windows. But the cool thing about this one is we've got a really, really good example of the leaky bucket. And I haven't found one this good in a while. We have really good die chips here underneath the bucket. And we've got some that come down here and a big die chip under the water pump. So this one lives up to its name. A lot of times you'll just get a big die chip here under the bucket or just a big die chip down here underneath the pump. But we actually have the one that looks like we have leaked out all the way down here. So really, really cool. These bigger leaky buckets can be worth, at least they used to be worth, pretty good money. Again, we'll check eBay at the end of the video. So we are down to our last 16 rolls. And as I said in the opening, these look like these are from a collector because each and every roll is crimped like this on both ends. Although it does look like maybe it was a home crimp job. I don't know. Maybe these were purchased from somewhere. And many of them have actually the state written on them, like this one for Texas, this one for Wisconsin, and they all appear to be Philadelphia's. So some of you out there may be screaming that I'm opening these rolls, especially if they all end up being sort of mint state or barely uncirculated bank rolls, but we're going to get into them because I think I can probably upgrade most of my albums with good specimens from these. Plus, what I want to do really quickly is I know there's a handful of these in the Strike It Rich book that if we can find an uncirculated or barely uncirculated error, it could be worth pretty good money. So let me get these things knocked down. I'm going to keep them in order because we do have them from, let's see here, 2002. Here's 4, here's 5, here's 6, here's 7, and we have 1 from 8. So we've got a good smattering of the early year national park quarters. And what I want to do is go through them kind of year by year based on the errors we find in the book. So let's take a quick look inside the book so we know what we're looking for. All right, well, I've got my Strike It Rich book out to the pages we care about. Now, I know we've got some 2000p South Carolinas in here. We'll be looking for this DDR where there's an extra branch running through it. This is one that I already look for. I have never, ever found one. And if we can find one in uncirculated condition, again, book says $10 to $15. I know we've got at least 1, maybe 2 rolls of the 2004 Wisconsin. I think they're all Philadelphia, but I think this can also be found on the Philadelphia and the Denver. But we're looking for this high leaf or low leaf variety or DDR, if you will, where we have an extra corn leaf here. Again, uncirculated, $125 to $175. So normally empty space, air, we've got the extra little stalk there. And here's another version of it. They call this one the low leaf. Now, this is only listed for Denver. I'm going to open the Phillies and look. I think it can exist for both, but I'm not sure. Let's see here. I know we've got the 2005 California, $4.50 to $7. Looking for a very, very minor double die reverse right there. We don't have the Minnesota. I'm pretty certain. Lots of errors on the Minnesota. I've never found one of those either. And last but not least, we have the Colorado and the Wyoming. So the 2006 Philly Colorado, uncirculated, $10 to $15. We're looking for a double ear on, or it's a double die obverse. It's sort of an extra earlobe here on George on the obverse. And for the Wyoming, this is another one I've looked for a long time. It's basically a DDR down here near the handle on the Bronco. $12 to $20. So those are the ones we're looking for. We're going to go ahead and jump into them, and hopefully we find something that I can bring you in for. So just wanted to confirm with you guys, I think this is the 2002 Mississippi. Again, in nondescript paper, we got it pulled open, and you can see it is all brand spanking new quarters. I'm sure in fantastic shape, and as I said, I'll probably pull a couple of these to upgrade my books and maybe flip up a couple of them, but these are going to be absolutely gorgeous quarters. So I'm getting through those first couple of rolls, and I just wanted to stop and pull you in to just show you these coins are really, really nice, and I misspoke in an earlier clip. I said these were national park quarters. They are, in fact, state quarters, because I'm upgrading my state quarter series book. And as you can see here, I've pulled my Wisconsin P. This was actually not a bad coin. Let me get it under the light here that we had in there previously. It's seen a little circulation, but we've got some other more beautiful specimens that we have pulled out of that roll that we are going to hope to upgrade. And right now I'm just going through some of the nicer ones that I pulled as I went through it to find just the right one to go in my albums. We are down to our last two rolls of, I would say, bank wrapped or maybe AUBU quarters, judging from the condition of some of them coming out, like especially these Wyomings. Some have looked pretty good, as you can see here. Some have looked pretty bad. But I have found what I believe to be my first Wyoming DDR or error on the channel, and I wanted to show it to you guys. And unfortunately, the coolest one came out to be one of the ugliest quarters. Some easy est or something might clean that up, but we've got obvious circulation on it, and all that was found in a lot of these that, as you can see, do look really, really nice. There's a couple of bad ones in there, but I've got two I want to show you under the scope. It's a Philadelphia. This is probably the coolest one. Let's put it on here so we don't scratch it up on our bed of our microscope. But typically, and you guys saw it in the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book, that we're really looking for a DDR kind of in here or in here. Variety Vista calls one out right here, and as you can see, we've got a little bit of doubling of this maybe horse's mane on there, and it is on Variety Vista in this same location. And I decided I'd take a little cruise around the quarter to see what else we might have. And I found a little die chip hanging off the back of the leg here. And as we go around to the tail, we've definitely got another die chip right here. Unfortunately, we've got a big scratch coming up through the tail. But we've got a couple, 2 or 3 errors on this one. So I'm going to set this one aside. I think we've got a DDR and a die chip on it. I'll check eBay to see if I can find anything by the end of this video for something like this, just to get an idea of the value today. Unfortunately, again, I don't think this is one of the nicer specimens that we've found, but still pretty cool to have found in that bankroll. And this one was just off enough that I wanted to show it to you. I think it might be machine doubling more than anything else. Where's my quarter? There it is. Right here. We have a little bit of that shelf right there, but you can see we've got some doubling in there. That might be machine doubling, and I had a bunch of them that we had a little bit of, again, what I would say is probably machine doubling there. But if you think this is a DDR, let me know in the comments down below. I don't think it is, but I did think it was just off enough that I wanted to show it to you. And unfortunately, this quarter is in much better condition than the last one, but this is the other strangest thing I saw in 2 full rolls of these. So I'm going to get into those last couple of rolls, and we'll get into a wrap-up. So we've reached the end of our hunt, and I want to go through everything that we found just as a real quick recap in case you tap to the end of the video and you just kind of want to see what we found. What I can tell you is to start all of those rolls of bank-wrapped like AUBU coins, I did end up keeping about $20 worth of those just because they were really nice, and I wanted to have a couple of really nice specimens. We also upgraded every slot that we had in our state quarter books for those. They were all Philadelphia, so we upgraded just about every single one of those coins. I think every single one of those coins here in the state quarter book. So that's what you see there. I do have all the books out. Just to remind you, I have a Series 1 and a Series 2 set of these books. They are completely full, except for the latest and greatest women's quarters. And then I'm always looking for some upgrades, and we'll cover that as well. I do want to start over here. I pulled all of the 2010s and 2011s that we found throughout the hunt. I will throw mintages of each of these up on the screen, but the 2010s, 2011s, and 2012s, much lower mintage on the national park quarters than any of the later years. Most of these were kind of in that 30 million to about 75, 80 million range, whereas when you get later in the national park quarters, they were 150, 200, 300 million per coin. So these are a little tougher to come by. They're even tougher to come by in really good shape. Now you'll see that I have the Vicksburg up here, the Mississippi Vicksburg, as well as the Pennsylvania Gettysburg up top. Those are actually going to upgrade spots in my National Park book up here, my National Park Quarter book. So those will go in there. The rest of these, unfortunately, didn't upgrade anything, but we did end up with an Oregon, we had a Wyoming, we had a California, and we had a second Pennsylvania. All nice looking specimens, super low mintage. Like I said, I'll put that on the screen for you. We did find a 96 and a 98, both Denver. Both minor upgrades to our Washington quarter book that I have up here. I'm not going to show plugging those in and showing the albums. I've shown off the full albums in previous videos. If you want to check it out, go through my quarter hunt and playlist, hunt and fill playlist, and you can see those kind of as we built them. Over here, we've got all of our foreigns. We did come across 3 Bahamian quarters, 1 Canadian quarter. We had 5 Philadelphia bicentennials. One really, really nice one. I do hang on to the nicer ones. I've got several rolls of really, really nice bicentennials. 4 of the Denver, all checked for the DDO. I've still never found one of those, and I've been looking for it for about 4 or 5 years now. As for our errors, forgot to mention, and I didn't bring you in for it, we did get misstuffed on one roll by a nickel, so we got a 2007 D nickel along the way, so we lost 20 cents there. But as for our errors, we've got a bunch of them. And if I can find eBay comps, I'll throw them on the screen. But without looking them all up as I'm filming this, most of these guys are going to fall in that kind of $1, $2, $3 range. There may be some outliers, like a really good leaky bucket will still go for a decent amount of money. At least last I checked, they did. I did look for this Wyoming DDR and these die chips, and I did find somebody who had one that sold for $8, and it had multiple die chips and multiple issues with it. I couldn't find anything exactly like mine, so I'm going to say this would be, call it $7 or less. On a good day, though, you're probably only talking maybe $1, $2, $3. We did end up with an Arizona extra cactus die chip error. We did have this leaky bucket. This is probably my favorite of all the die chip errors in this hunt because it's a really, really good one because it covers the bucket and the water pump. We did find the DDR here on this guy. We had the Drooling George. Of course, we had the die chip on the Eleanor Roosevelt. We find a lot of those. And then I did come across 2 of the Maria Tall Chiefs with the die chip up here and the little, we'll call those feathers in her cap. I've not tried to sell any of these types of errors in a good long while, so, when I give you these prices, this is what I'm seeing on sold listings on eBay. Lots and lots of people are trying to sell this stuff, so you may list yours and never get a buyer just to keep things real, but you might get lucky. And when you do see people that get like, hey, I got $50 for this thing, and they have 0 feedback, I wouldn't trust that sale too much. That's probably a scammer out there, so pay no attention to that. With that, I hope you did enjoy this video. It was fun. I was hoping to find some W's and some silver because it's been a while since we found either, but it is what it is. Finding some original bank wrapped or sort of AU, BU bank wrapped quarters was really nice, and I do enjoy finding the errors. So with that, if you did enjoy this one, drop one down below, leave me a comment, and drop me a like if you would. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts and you want to see me hunt quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies, half dollars, you name it, I do it. Make sure you click on that subscribe button, then click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel each and every month. I really, really appreciate it. And with that, I hope you guys are doing well. It's July 4th. I think tomorrow, this probably will come out on July 4th, maybe July 5th. Happy 4th of July to you guys. I've got a couple of days off. I'll be enjoying those with the family, and I hope you are doing the same. So with that, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.